right, now that's going. Now I can
Oh,
do this.
yeah.
Oh, no way. Oh my god! No way! Oh my god!
What?
I said abbreviated intro for an abbreviated
Oh,
episode.
okay. Welcome everybody to episode 140 of 1 million of the Serial Chillers podcast. That's right, Chiller Chatters. Number 5. We've done 5, Greg. We're in the 5th one, buddy. Believe that shit.
I had to double count it when I was labeling this episode.
Like,
I
there's
was
no
like,
way.
is it really 5 already?
Well, before he gets talking too much here, I should ask, how goes it? Hello, Greg.
Oh, I'm cool, man. I'm just hanging out. My eyes are fucking killing me right now, but other than that, I'm cool. I'm good.
For dry, red eyes. Try clear eyes.
Oh yeah.
Oh, man. All right. Well, good to be here for a little chiller chatter, dude. Good to see your face.
Yeah.
You guys check us out on the social medias, our website, the Patreon, all that stuff, serialchillerspod.com. If you could support, it helps. It's awesome. It's a beautiful thing. If not, just listening does the same. Rate and review. We haven't said that in a while. Get out there and rate and review on all of the Apple and Spotify are the two main ones. If you help us out there and help us get seen by some other motherfuckers. So, additionally, a little fun. It's called a Christmas gift. This is from Greg and I to you guys. So this, let's see, today you guys will be getting this on like the 8th, I think, 7th if you're on Patreon. So your next 3 episodes following this episode, that means launching on the 15th, 22nd, and 29th. Those are the standard release dates. If you're a Patreon patron, you'll be getting those a day earlier. But 15th, 22nd, and 29th, those are going to be 3 straight game show episodes for you guys. So I don't know,
So
thought
you're
that'd
gonna
be a
put that
little.
in your stocking and stuff it.
Yeah, I mean, I know that, the way we used to do it is the way a lot of people are used to. I have heard nothing but people saying that they really like the new format, and I'm excited about that because we were a little apprehensive about doing basically side episodes every week or every other week, and worried about what people would think. But people have really received it well and have been really liking it, so that's helping us,
And can you fucking
stretch the
blame them? This
show
is
out.
fun.
Yeah, exactly. And Greg and I get to get together like we used to, so it's been good for everybody. But in doing that, we have been allowed to get pretty far ahead because we're still recording weekly and releasing those bi-weekly, and that's the idea that we put forth to offer you guys no breaks. That's the whole idea behind all of this, is doing these episodes in between. But every now and again, we're going to run into a spot where it is very plausible for us to run some game show episodes consecutively. If you've come to love Chiller Chatter, I'm sorry, it won't be back until January 5th after today. So we got about a month with no Chiller Chatter, but
So
the
really
next 3
savor this
episodes,
one.
yeah, soak it in, baby. The next 3 all game shows. So you've got 3. Let me take a look here. You've got 3 really great episodes. Actually, you have 3 like really great episodes. I'll just tell you now, it's going to kick off with Bonnie and Clyde on the 15th. So great guests for the Bonnie and Clyde one. Our last in studio recording. So we've been recording these Chiller Chatters via this software, and it's been working great. And then we've done a lot of, I think, 5 or 6 episodes that you guys have not heard yet with the software, and it's gone great. So basically everything you guys have heard as a full episode now has been done the old way, and going forward, in my opinion, everything sounds a lot cleaner and has just a better overall quality. So Bonnie and Clyde on the 15th, last in studio episode, and then I'll let you guys kind of discover the next ones as they come up. But we do bring back Jim and Eddie in one of the episodes. So if you guys remember, Jim is a longtime contributor and friend of the show. Same with Eddie. Eddie's been on with his now wife once before. And we do have Thomas and Grace back. So if you guys are like Discord Discord friends of ours, you'll know Captain Scott Freak and the Grease Man. They're back and duking it out. So won't give you all the killers, but give you a lot of the guests and just a lot of cool stuff coming down the line. And you're gonna get it consecutively. So for a couple weeks, Merry Christmas, motherfuckers! Please enjoy the consecutive game show episodes. And then lastly, when we come back on the 5th, it will be a chiller chatter. And the whole idea with chiller chatter was that Greg and I would do this most weeks where we sit down and we just chat. But it honestly all stemmed from an idea where Greg talked about interviewing somebody as an episode. And that was kind of where chiller chatters came. I was like, dude, we could do some, kind of cool non-podcast, our main stream and do those side episodes in a way that are something different, something interesting. And that interview didn't end up working out, which is fine because something will come down the line. But what I've done is I reached out to people on the Discord, on the Instagram, and I was just thinking, man, I bet you there's some really great paranormal stories that are out there and that our listeners can tell us. And we talk about them in the Discord sometimes too. People will hint at them. And so I asked, and a few people were like, yeah, I think I've got one. So I kind of set up a schedule. Hey, here's what you'll need. And I set 12 time slots up, like being very generous. 12 is something that honestly, it was never something I thought I'd fill. And now at my last check, I have one slot available.
Nice.
So filled 11 of the 12. I imagine most people will show up, and I imagine some people won't, and that's okay. We plan for that. But on January 5th, you guys will have a nice edited, put together episode that is just based on all listener stories. I'm sure some people will share their names, or some people might stay anonymous, but either way, you're going to have a nice little ghost stories in January when we come back from the consecutive episodes. So I don't know. I just think we got 4 cool things coming down the line in the 3 consecutive episodes, then a ghost story episode. And, I don't know. The show's evolving a little bit. And I think that's a neat thing because we're evolving out of, choice, not necessity. We're evolving and doing the things we want to get to do, not because we have to do them. And that's probably my favorite part about all of it.
We choose to do these things not because they are easy, but because they are hard.
So like most chiller chatters, Greg and I say, hey, I think I got a short one here. And then we end up talking for 2.5 hours or whatever. But I think we might truly have a fairly short one here today. But Greg brought a little something. I brought a little something. And we're going to chiller chatter this thing up for you guys. So thank you guys for continuing to support us. And take it away, Greg.
Yeah, my report today is about it's about a man, a plan, a canal, a stack of papers, Panama. The Panama Papers. For people who don't know what that is, it was like 2 terabytes of documents that got released. Which, if you have any idea how many terabytes documents take up, it's not many. Documents
I was
don't
gonna
eat
say
up a lot of space.
I feel like the younger crowd aren't awed as much by hearing terabytes of space.
Right.
But we come from that perfect sweet spot of generations where we 100% remember being like, did you say a gigabyte? Holy shit.
We remember the picture in that one in Weird Science magazine with Bill Gates up in the tree in the sling and the stack of papers all the way up next to him, and he's holding a disc, and it was like, the new CD-ROM can hold this many papers.
Yeah, and it's 328 megabytes.
Yeah.
Yeah, for just documents, that's an insane amount of information stored.
It was something to the tune of 11.2 million documents.
Oh, just a nice afternoon of reading.
Right, yeah, just a little light scrolling. And the whole deal was that it was documents released by this company from Panama, and their name was Mossack Fonseca. and it's basically
That's a
what they're
fun name.
deal. Yeah, it's not a bad name. We do have a lot of good names on here. But they were basically like a shell company, or they set up shell companies for wealthy people and other companies, so that it was like a tax haven. And the problem with it was that somewhere around $2 trillion has passed through that company to these shell corporations and stuff that don't exist.
Lucrative.
That's avoided paying taxes. Now look,
Oh, fun.
I'm not for taxes. I've been trying to start a cult for years so that I don't have to pay
I was gonna
taxes.
say, just do it the good old fashioned way and start a religion, you fuckers.
That's what I'm trying to do. These guys are just not doing that. So I mean, it's just so there has been some money recapped. But okay, so here I'll read. This is from Investopedia.com. It
Ooh,
says
that's new. I like that.
yeah.
New to me.
It says the Papers refer to the 11.5 million leaked encrypted confidential documents that were the property of a Panama-based law firm, Mossack Fonseca. The documents were released on April 3rd, 2016 by the German newspaper, not even going to try and pronounce it, dubbing the
Come
term
on.
Süddeutsche Zeitung. Yeah.
See, don't you feel better?
No, not at all. I feel way worse. The document exposed the network of more than 214,000 tax havens involving people and entities from 200 different nations. A year-long team effort by SZ, which is the initials of that German paper, uh,
Okay.
and the International Consortium of Investigative Journalists, the ICIJ, went into deciphering the encrypted files before revelations were made public. The key takeaways were that the Panama Papers were a massive leak of financial files from the database of Mossack Fonseca, the fourth biggest offshore law firm in the world. So these guys aren't even the top dogs, and they've had a couple trillion pass through them, getting going into like
Jeez.
shell corporations. Yeah, they're number 4 in this in the world. Um, They were leaked anonymously to the German newspaper. The files exposed a network of 214,000 tax havens. The anonymous source who leaked the papers did so from Panama, which is why it got the name Panama Papers.
Sure.
Most of the documents showed no illegal actions, but some of the shell corporations set up by Mossack Fonseca had been used for fraud, tax evasion, or avoiding international sanctions. So that's another thing that they would do is set up the company uh, in Panama that doesn't have the same laws and restrictions that you're bound to in the United States, and
Sure.
then your company operating there, yeah, like, oh, you opened up a satellite office in El Segundo, California, but we're located in Panama.
That's why we can have these illegal monkey fight rings.
Kind of, yeah. So, it says the Panama Papers are documents that contain personal financial information about many wealthy individuals and public officials that had previously been kept private. Among those named in the leak were a dozen current or former world leaders, 128 public officials, politicians, hundreds of celebrities, business people, and other wealthy individuals.
Read them off.
Um,
I'm just kidding, I'm just kidding.
no, there's
Just hundreds of names. Go.
I mean, literally like Vladimir Putin's top
It's like it's
advisor
like
and
it's
the
like looking at
royal
Epstein's
butler.
list.
Kind
It's
of.
like,
It's a lot of. It's a
yeah,
lot of the same
yeah, they're
guys.
on there. They're on there.
Yeah, it's a lot of the same guys. Um,
Ooh, intrigue.
yeah, but yeah, it's just it's so wild to think about all that shit. So, it says in 2015, the German newspaper was contacted by an anonymous source calling themselves John Doe, who offered to leak the documents. Doe did not demand any financial compensation in return. The total volume of data comes to about 2.6 terabytes.
Whew.
making it the biggest data leak in history, and it pertains to the period spanning from the 1970s to the spring of 2016. So there's
Oh, so
fucking
it's just a nice little
almost 50
45 years of
years.
documents.
Yeah.
Ah, yes, of course.
Initially, only select names of politicians, public officials, businessmen, and others involved were revealed. One of the immediate consequences of the revelations on April 4th, 2016, was the resignation of Iceland's prime minister. On May 9th, all of the 214,488 offshore entities named in the Panama Papers became searchable via a database on the website of the International Consortium of Investigative Journalists.
So
Germany
you could just
issued.
go on there and search them up.
Yeah, you can absolutely just go on there and read through them. Germany has issued an arrest warrant for Mossack Fonseca lawyers Jurgen Mossack and Ramon Fonseca for tax evasion and operating a criminal organization. However,
We're after
because of
you, Jurgen.
because of Panama's extradition, did I say Jurgen?
No,
Oh,
you said
okay,
Jurgen.
did I?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
My brain is recalling you saying it correctly. My brain was also just like, Jurgen's a fun name. So I needed to
Hmm.
say it.
We'll see. We'll see.
I guess so.
So yeah, because of Panama's extradition laws, they won't be handed over to German officials. In Panama, they face charges connected to the Panama Papers scandal and bribery with a Brazilian company, of which they spent 2 months in jail before bonding out.
Yeah, there's
Um,
like they knew what they were doing when they went to Panama to start, right? They're like,
right.
all right, yeah. So like, if we get caught, they don't even fucking extradite here. We'll do 2 months and, but I don't
They
know.
have
Brazilian prison
offices in the
seems like it might
United
be kind of
States.
fucking gnarly. Say that
They
again.
have they have offices in the United States too. Like,
It's perfect.
yeah.
So you're like, oh,
Um,
things are going down. We better go check on that office over there.
right. Oh, we need to go to Panama. Ooh.
Oh,
Um, U.S.
suppose
taxpayer
so.
Harold Joachim von der Goltz was convicted of wire and tax fraud, money laundering, and a host of other crimes related to the Panama Papers scandal. He was sentenced to 4 years in a U.S. federal prison. 4 years. 4 years. That's like
Seems
nothing.
not enough-ish.
Yeah.
But we're used to
Yeah.
dealing with like serial killers and stuff for the most part. So I hear 4 years and I'm like, wait, what crime did they do again? Because I'm used to
So
like serial murder and rape.
yeah, and they only get 6 months with credit for time served.
So they can come back and
Um,
do it again.
from the ICIJ's website, more than 1.24 billion has been clawed back by governments around the world. In
So they
April,
get their money anyway, homie.
yeah,
They don't give a
yeah,
fuck. They'll wait for you.
they're getting
They'll
it
wait till you
back.
die.
Um, in April of 2021, they reported that more than 1.2 billion had been recouped. It's grown since then, obviously.
Good for them.
One of them said, "That sucks. It's really just a drop in the ocean compared with the amount of tax people should have paid." Which, like, yeah, obviously, but like just the country of Italy, they only got 33.7 million back, which fuck, that's not
Well,
much,
that's like a slow afternoon for Daddy Elon.
right? Like, that's so crazy to me. Argentina, notable developments: 104 million was declared by citizens who entered a tax amnesty to start paying taxes. So they after this got broken up, Argentina had 104 million dollars in taxes coming in because people were like, "Oh fuck, we can't do this anymore."
Shit. All right, here.
It's just like one guy. Um, President Mauricio Macri's brother Gianfranco Macri declared 4 million in an investigation. Once an investigation was open, he was like, "Oh yeah, I got 4 million. I gotta pay. My bad." Um,
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. LOL.
yeah, Australia. It says money in the bank: 92,880,415 in liabilities in cash, last reported in 2019. 53 audits to collect that.
I was just gonna say, so basically these countries got these papers and they were like, huh, started the audits, and now they're fucking collecting on the audits based on the information in the Panama Papers.
So Canada, money in the bank, zero. Notable developments.
Yeah, dude, Canadians are honest as hell, baby. They ain't skipping the tax. Oh, sorry about that. Sent him in late, eh?
More than 11 million has been assessed but not recovered, and not counted in the 1.2
Yeah, but
billion.
11 million? What it like? That's
116 audits have been completed, but 300 people have been identified for audits in the future, and less than 10 criminal investigations have been started in Canada.
Hey, it's okay, huh? Maybe just next time, just pay it up, all right? Okay.
Hungary, zero, no money. India, none.
Don't sound very hungry to me.
Like in Ireland, only 452,000.
Yeah, it's strange because like I remember when it came out, it was obviously like it was one of those things where it was like I didn't like dive too deep into it because I was like, oh, Greg will explain this to me later. Um,
It'll
and
be
this is the
massive.
first time. This is the first time we've gotten to it. It seemed like a bigger deal than it was. Like I guess
It
I
is a
know
big.
here in the States, how I perceived it was all of the eat the rich people were like, fuck yeah, we finally fucking got them, dude. Like, we showed that they're not fucking paying taxes. They're opening up shell corporations, blah, 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 blah. And everybody's like, fuck yeah, we got them. And then nothing came of it.
That's not true. The one journalist who broke the story was killed.
Oh, okay, good. That's good.
Yeah.
So
So
something came of it.
that's what came from it.
Good.
Meanwhile,
Was
the
he
United.
suicided?
She
Oh,
was,
she.
I believe. I don't
She was
remember.
suicided?
I don't remember. She was.
She was shot in the back of the head twice.
Oh man. So yeah,
Wow.
like
You don't have to look
even
that up. It's interesting.
even the UK, 252 million is what
It
they've
just like it
received.
seems like such a drop in the bucket. Like what like yeah, I get 252 million for the entire United Kingdom though. That's like
Right. It's
like
not much.
right. Right, we got a couple of those new phone booths around here. Doctor Who would be proud.
I mean, Poland, zero. Slovenia, 1 million. South Korea, zero. Spain, 164 million. Sweden, 19 million. Like,
It just like it doesn't seem like enough to move the needle for any of those. None of
yeah.
those are third world countries, you know?
But when you combine all of them and you've got,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
I mean,
This
fuck,
much.
just the 5, 6 countries that I read right there that aren't at zero. I mean, that's
Did you say how much the United States was at and recovered?
probably nowhere near that. It didn't. I didn't see the U.S. on here actually.
They're like, we heard they were
Oh
the
no,
rich guys. They're the rich guys we like. We're not really fucking with them.
we're not gonna talk about them. That little guy,
These
I wouldn't worry about that little guy.
these guys here, we call them lawmakers.
Yeah,
They don't
yeah.
really.
No, it goes from the United Kingdom to Uruguay.
Well, fuck. What kind of fucking American propaganda is this article?
ICIJ baby.
Which just makes me feel like they definitely have not recovered shit. It's like a number that should be huge, but they're like, I don't even put it on there. They're gonna look like assholes.
Let's see.
It's also zero.
According to the Intercept.com, to understand how this works, this article about Uganda based on the Mossack Fonseca leak. According to the Time Lives of South Africa in 2010, the Heritage Oil and Gas Ltd company wanted to avoid paying 404 million in capital gains taxes to the Ugandan government on
Sure.
its 1.5 billion sale of 50% interest. So yeah, so I mean, I can imagine how many billion-dollar companies are in the United States. I mean,
A
like,
lot, right?
yeah, and if they're avoiding that kind of money in Uganda, I can only imagine what they're looking at in the US.
Here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unless it's an activity that they just literally would not do here, because in Uganda it costs 1.5 billion, but here if they did it, it's literally like a $1 trillion transaction. And that's part of the reason too that it's done that way. I don't know. It's all way over my fucking head, to be perfectly honest with you, but it's all just an interesting part of like, there's a lot of people that just talk about, how controlled the world is. I like to I like to live obliviously. That's kind of been my way as of recently. The old COVID made me want to just kind of put it all off on the don't think about it side.
Here, I found a list. So, offshore wealth and tax evasion regional estimates of 2014 from Europe and developing countries. Um, Offshore wealth, 1,200 billion is what it says.
Isn't that trillion then? Isn't that 1.2 trillion?
Probably 4% of it says share of the financial wealth held offshore. 4%.
That's
Um,
sickening.
hey, but we're not even second place. That's third place.
Oh, good.
Asia has it says 1,300 so 1.3 trillion, and Europe has 2.6 trillion. So 10% of their financial wealth is held offshore. 30% of Africa's, 52% of Russia's, 57% of the Gulf countries. Basically, 8% of the world's financial wealth is held in offshore accounts.
Huh. That's a lot of wealth.
Or 190 billion in taxes annually.
Oh,
So
man.
when you go to San Francisco and you see people shitting on the street and you're like, yo, dude, what do we even pay taxes for? We don't. It goes here.
Or like
When you hit a when you
We
hit a
do, but
fucking
the dudes who would like move the fucking needle, they don't.
yeah, when you hit
They
a pothole and it fucking wrecks your tie rod and you're like in the shop spending like $1,400 to get a new rim and a new tire and like new control arms and stuff, and you're like, man, why are these roads such shit? It's because they spent your tax money on the monorail instead of fixing that shit. But it doesn't matter
well,
because there's not enough money to go around because these guys are hiding billions of dollars.
to be fair, the monorail salesman was very good.
I mean, he sold monorails to Brockway, Ogdenville, and North Haverbrook.
I put them on the map. Very good,
Yeah,
Greg.
that's all
Thank
I
you.
got on the Panama Papers. Get fired up. Go out there and
Go out there and
don't pay
don't pay your
taxes and eat a
taxes.
billionaire.
Eat a billionaire. That's the official. I think. I think the problem is how how acceptable it is to mess with the tax system to gaming the tax system is like a business. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I've
Like,
heard I've heard people like rich people be like, I do everything I can to pay as little as I can in taxes, and everybody else is like, hey, good for you.
right. Well, I mean, like, I'm not a fan of him, but I mean, even Donnie, they asked him during a debate, like, basically, hey, didn't you use loopholes? And he's like, yeah, I wouldn't. Why wouldn't you use? Why would you not use the loopholes that are there to
Right.
skip paying millions? And I was like, man, I don't like him, but that's a it's a pretty good it's a fucking fairly good point, man. Like, why wouldn't you use them if they're there?
Yeah, that's why I'm trying to start a religion. I mean, or a cult or whatever. Trying to
Oh,
get
it's totally not a cult.
tax exempt status. That's all I want.
But we out here. Where'd my bracelet go? I got my bracelet around here somewhere. Is it on this cable somewhere? I don't know. I'm in. I don't need the fucking bracelet. I'm in. I'm Judas, remember?
Yeah. I was gonna say you're written in scripture.
So what I brought is a little, I guess, little folklore from a certain part of our country. We got some like Midwest and Northeastern folklore. I know America is not exactly like rife with um, deep folklore and urban legend, but
Fuck, it
we
used to
got a
be
little here
until
for you. What's that?
I said it used to be until everybody who had stories was wiped out.
We just passed Thanksgiving. You guys didn't know about that? So this story is about I'm going to give you three different versions of what is known as the Melonheads. Are you familiar at all? Have you heard of them?
No, bring it on though.
Oh, baby. Okay, so geographically, there's three distinct versions of the tale, right? So we've got a Connecticut version, an Ohio version, and a Michigan version. The Michigan version goes like this. The infamous Melonheads of Michigan are believed to inhabit the vicinity of Felt Mansion, although there have been alleged sightings of them in wooded areas of Ottawa County as well. They are what they sound like. They are nondescript, melon-headed, humanoid individuals. How's that for a descriptor? That's
Like melon-headed, like how?
like think I'm
Watermelon?
not
So
sure.
like
I
Stewie
I'm
or
I was
cantaloupe?
gonna
So
say
it's just round.
I'm not sure if it's proper term to use any longer, but pinheads, like the brachycephalic. Think Freak Show, American Horror
Okay.
Story Freak Show. They had a couple of. I think that some of it is chalked up to that. We'll kind of get to it a little bit. I just felt like now that I'm looking at it, I sort of wrote this up without really describing what they are. But that's kind of the allure of the story, is that like, what exactly are they? You know,
Yeah.
that's there's a basic description, but other than that, it's like, huh. According to one version of the story, these peculiar beings were originally children with hydrocephalus who resided in the Junction Insane Asylum near Felt Mansion. So they're insane hydrocephalus children,
Yeah.
according to one version.
I could see that being enough to start an urban legend.
Well, I mean, you go. Are you familiar with Cropsy?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, like there are definitely things like this, or it just needs to start with a kernel of truth, and sometimes when you get down to the bottom and find what the truth really is, it's not that far off from what the stories are. That was kind of the case with Cropsy. There's like a whole documentary on that if no one's seen it, but it's a pretty cool little fucking thing they got going on there. So this one is basically no one's sure, but the Allegan County Historical Society disputes the existence of that asylum ever existing, claiming, however, that it was a prison. So maybe there were prisoners with hydrocephalus in the area. Nevertheless, this folklore has persisted for many years. Lake Town Township manager Al Menschkin shared that he heard these tales during his teenage years, and his friends even referred to the Melonheads lovingly as Wobbleheads. So it's I love that even in the same geographic area as the stories change enough to where they like have different names. Are you looking up Melonheads right now? I saw your
Yeah.
face. I saw your face fucking just change. Just the shape of your face went from like so relaxed and chill to what the fuck? So, some variations of the legend suggest that the children initially lived within the mansion itself before seeking refuge in a network of caves or caverns nearby in remnants of an abandoned zoo.
I
Right?
love
How
it. I
fucking.
mean, that's so metal, dude.
In certain versions, it is said that the children devised a plan to escape and exact revenge on the doctor who had mistreated them. As the story goes, they had no place to conceal the doctor's body, so they resorted to dismembering it into small pieces and hiding them throughout the mansion's walls. Rumors have circulated that teenagers who trespassed into the mansion witnessed apparitions of the children and claimed to glimpse the shadows of the doctor's murder through an open door. This captivating legend has spread far and wide throughout the region, even inspiring a 2011 film titled The Melonheads, which revolves around this eerie West Michigan tale. So that's
These
your
two.
go ahead.
They're just so wild looking.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like when you go, like, if you type in the grays for aliens, not every picture looks exactly the same. There's a bunch of little kind of variations, and some people put like they got like little shoulder frills or something, but like there's always some. The basic idea is there. That's the same thing with the melon heads. They're just
Bro,
some of them
you
kind of
know,
look like what you would imagine the like smart character in a like near future post-apocalyptic thing might be. It's like, oh, his brain has grown due to radiation.
a
Like, I
couple of
am the
them look
smart
like
one.
they would. A couple of them look like they communicate by going ack ack ack. Did you see on Amazon you can buy the Melonhead Mayhem on VHS?
No, on VHS, you say?
Yeah, dude, this thing looks sick.
Oh my god. So let's look a little bit here at the Ohio version of the tale. In
What are they
Ohio,
called?
they're all melon heads. That's
Okay.
kind of why I brought them here like this.
Okay.
Because basically it seems to me, and it's almost like you said, this isn't exactly like a tucked together location because Ohio and Michigan close enough, sure. Connecticut pushed
Yeah,
off a little, but
a little northeast.
the stories could just that's how urban legends go, man. The story could be from initial settlers. This story could be 200 years old. We don't know where it came from or why it spread this way. But it couldn't be because some of them are like, oh, they come from a prison that was, I don't know how it got spread out, but they're all called the Melonheads for some reason. And I just thought it interesting. I think I might have stumbled across this in our Discord suggestions. I can't honestly remember. If you suggested this episode, shout out to you. Let me know who you are. I'll give you a shout out on socials or something because I appreciate it. But yeah, it's just an interesting find where there's three very distinct geographic locations, three very similar stories of melon heads. But yeah, I don't know. Sorry. The tales of the Melonheads in Ohio are closely tied to the Cleveland suburb of Kirtland in Lake County. Local legend suggests that these Melonheads were originally orphans who were under the care of a mysterious individual known as Dr. Crow. Dr. Crow is spelled just like Crow. However, it is sometimes spelled the same but with an E, or Crow, Krohe, or Kroh. He is also referred to as Dr. Melonhead. Now, Greg, tell me what you discovered that made your face change the way it just did a moment ago there.
Um, it was the IMDb page of Ron Callister dressed up as a melon head, but it like the photo that they used, it just caught me
Should
by
we should we
surprise.
should we get together and watch a Melonheads movie soon, dude?
I feel like,
They got a couple to choose from. No real high budget ones, but they're
yeah.
out there.
Whoa.
So, according to the lore, Dr. Crow conducted peculiar experiments on the children, resulting in their heads growing large and hairless along with the deformed bodies. So, sounds like some like weird Nazi experiment shit. Like, oh, I've
It
got
was just
got a
it
bunch
was
of children.
survivors of a second Roswell crash.
Mm,
Like they're
interesting theory. Like
oh,
shit, the world's really big, man. New Mexico and Ohio is not really that far apart if you look at it.
hey, give me some time to work on this theory, and I'll present it at the end of your
Okay, I like that. Some versions of the story even claim that the children already suffered from hydrocephalus, and Dr. Crow injected additional fluids into their brains. As
Which
the
one of
dude, I just want to I want band name on like Dr. Crow's brain juices or something. As the legend goes, the children eventually rebelled against Dr. Crow, killing him and setting fire to the orphanage in which they lived. Then they sought refuge in the surrounding forests, where it is believed that they preyed upon infants whenever available. Wisner Road in Kirtland and the adjacent Chardon Township of Geauga County are said to be the areas where sightings of these melonheads occur the most. The Melonhead legend has gained significant popularity on the internet, particularly websites like Creepy Cleveland and Dead Ohio. I literally went to these homepages and bookmarked them. I want to check them out later.
Yeah.
Um, Creepy Cleveland and Dead Ohio, where users share their own versions of the story. In 2010, a movie titled Legend of the Melonheads was released based on the Ohio legend and other local legends in the Kirtland area. Additionally, the 2018 horror anthology film, The Field Guide to Evil, features a rendition of the Melonheads as part of its collection of stories from different cultures around the world. In this particular segment, a man's son is taken into the woods and transformed into a melonhead. Despite widespread belief in Dr. Crow's existence, research
Contagious?
suggests that he was likely a fictional character and never actually existed. Um, I mean, according to the B movie, The Field Guide to Evil, I think which might be the only movie I did in IMDb. I looked at Legend of Melonheads, and the Michigan one was just called like the Melonheads, and they both just look like solid, B films.
Yeah.
I did not look at that one. The Field Guide to Evil, 2018. It's the most recent of the films, though. So, as we move to Connecticut, it seems like the lore runs deepest here. The numerous versions of the Melonhead legend can be found in various parts of southwest Connecticut, particularly in southern Litchfield County. It's almost like someone from one of these areas, because there's so many Connecticut areas. It's like a couple of people from Connecticut moved to Ohio and Michigan at some point,
Right.
whatever in the 70s, because this doesn't seem to exist much prior to the 1960s.
Well,
But
so I just saw a thing that showed that that said that it came from the 70s.
okay, so there you go.
This is
So
it's
urban legend as it may be, it's still only 50 years old.
yeah, it says that they were well, I don't want to go
Well,
ahead.
okay, here we'll get through Connecticut. You keep working on your theory.
Yeah, yeah.
So, in Connecticut, numerous versions exist, particularly in southern Litchfield County, central and eastern Fairfield County, and western New Haven County. In Fairfield County and Litchfield County, captivating tales can be discovered in communities like Newton, New Milford, Trumbull, Shelton, Stratford, Monroe, Easton, and Weston. I love those two names, by the way.
Right.
I've heard the name Easton a million times,
I have a
It's a
cousin named
baseball
Weston.
bat company. It's a very very multi-use name. I've also heard the name Weston, but I've never seen them side by side and put together Easton and Weston.
Yeah.
So I just thought that was a fun little thing I also learned here tonight.
Hell yeah. Here's
Meanwhile, in
Harry.
West,
Guess what the fuck I just learned?
hey man, sometimes it's the little things that keep us going here. Meanwhile, in western and central New Haven County, intriguing stories can be found in towns such as Seymour, Oxford, Milford, and Southbury. There are several primary variations of the legend that originated in Connecticut. According to one version, Fairfield County was home to a mental asylum for the criminally insane that tragically burned down in the autumn of 1960. The fire claimed the lives of all the staff and most of the patients, leaving 10 to 20 inmates unaccounted for. Now, here's something that I also find absolutely fascinating about the history of this country is that we gain our independence in 1776. Okay, nearly 200 years later, 1960. Okay, it's 184 years.
Mm-hmm.
Between that time and now, the 50 years since it's happened, or 60, I suppose, since 1960, it is so difficult to look back and confirm whether or not there was an insane asylum that burned down in 1960. I just think that's such an interesting, it's such a small portion of our total history. 60 years. See, it was like, oh yeah, for sure. If it were 1860, you're like, oh, maybe, I don't know. It's like 1960, and people are like, yeah, I don't. We're not exactly sure, man. It could be.
There's still people alive who could remember if it was there or not.
Right. There's enough plausible deniability in its existence that an urban legend can exist.
Right.
Which it kind of is like it's a delicious little snack that leads to a big meal.
Big time.
So, some versions of this tale replace the asylum or prison with other locations. Nope, I skipped something here. Let's see. So, the fire in 1960 claimed the lives of all the staff and most of the patients, leaving the 10 to 20 inmates unaccounted for. It is believed that these survivors managed to escape to the nearby woods. Now, if you escape to nearby woods, I figure you would just keep going until you escape somewhere good, But all of these legends suppose that these melonheads all either killed their evil captor or escaped their fate, and they just lived in the woods nearby.
Hey, buddy.
That's something that I love about it.
They're mental patients.
In some cases, they're
Allegedly,
prisoners. And,
allegedly, they're not playing with a
oh,
full deck of cards.
allegedly, yes, you are
So,
correct.
so you get. I mean, yes, you would keep going until you found safety. Maybe somebody who is just happy to be free isn't going to go back to anywhere because the next time that somebody sees them, they're going back to a place like they just came from. So they'll take their chances in the woods.
I guess Cropsy did hang out nearby where he was let out too, huh?
Yeah, I mean,
So, um, there are several primary variations of the legend that originated in Connecticut. According to one version, Fairfield County was home to a mental. Nope, I read all of that already. Some versions of this tale replace the asylum with a prison, like we just found out. Some versions of this tale replace the asylum and, let's see, the patients, employees, and staff with camp goers. It basically replace it however you want. It could. Some tales say it was a camp and all the camp goers and counselors were killed in the fire, and some say it was this set of shops or offices. And whatever the story is, it seems to be in Connecticut that it was a fire that led to most people perishing. So each retelling may alter the original town of origin as well and the final destination of the individuals. The second variation of the legend states that the Melonheads are descendants of a family from the colonial era hailing from Shelton, Trumbull. This family was banished after being accused of witchcraft, forcing them to seek refuge in the woods. Similar to the first version, this variation attributes the Melonheads' appearance to inbreeding.
what year is this?
The family would have been banished.
Yeah.
It says colonial times.
Okay. Okay.
So
So it was probably something like she did long division, and
and suddenly they're having to inbreed to keep their family alive for the next 200 years before they're terrifying people.
naturally.
It is said that the Melonheads prey upon unsuspecting humans who venture into their territory. Just like the first version, of different retellings may change the original town of the family's origin and their eventual whereabouts. A number of Connecticut-based legends of the Melonheads have one characteristic in common: the inclusion of a secluded, rustic, or single lane, usually dirt road running through the Melonheads' wooded territory. So this is something that is very important to the Connecticut legend, is that you discover Melonheads as you are on one of these roads. You're not going to like really find them. Like, these roads are
They patrol the roads they
conduits.
know.
Yeah, like these are the locations that they exist in. Many towns have these forested sections. It is not uncommon for these forests to have rural roads running through them. These roads at time are associated with the local variation of the Melonhead legend and are said to be part of the Melonhead's territory. In a number of towns such as Newton, New Milford, Shelton, Trumbull, and Monroe, several legends place the Melonheads' territory around a mysterious and mythical street commonly referred to as Dracula Drive.
Ooh.
None of the towns that have Melonhead legend have roads designated as Dracula Drive.
Bah.
But so there are no towns that actually have Dracula Drive,
But there's a
but there
Dr. Acula Drive.
but there are several towns who, like, it's not a great example, but so, where we're from in Clovis, they have those signs up on Shaw. And what does it say? What do they call Shaw? The
Avenue?
Avenue. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, they try to have like a cool nickname for it. And so imagine that, but it was an urban legend, and you call it Dracula Drive. So you've
If
got
they
some.
had if they had like Nightwalker Lane.
A better example is like Dead Man's Curve. Like, it's not called Dead Man Curve. It's a street on whatever, but like everybody calls it Dead Man's Curve because people die, it's dangerous, or whatever the case is.
Yeah.
I think that's probably a better example. So there's a
Just a
road that
colloquial name.
it is a colloquial name that many towns in southwestern Connecticut use to describe an area where you would see or be approached by melonheads. Fair?
Yeah, fair enough. I get you.
Depending on what version of the legend is told, one of several existing streets are mistakenly referred to or coincidentally coincide with Dracula Drive mentioned in the Melonhead stories. For instance, some legends place the Melonhead's territory in Sawmill City Road in Shelton as Dracula Drive. Some other roads mistakenly referred to as Dracula Drive include Edmund Road in Oxford, Velvet Street in Trumbull and Monroe, which runs between Taschereau Road and Trumbull, and Judd Road in Monroe near the eastern border, Zion Hill Road in Milford, the roads around Lake Mohegan in Fairfield, the Marginal Road in New Haven, Jeremy Swamp Road in Southbury, and paths and roads in and around Roosevelt Forest in Stratford. So there's just tons of these roads out in these areas of Connecticut that people there colloquially refer to as Dracula Drive. Which I think is fun. So it says here some of the inspirations and origins, characteristics of the legend evolve, and parts of various versions of the legend affect and other parts and versions of the legend moving forward. For example, some legends claim that the Melonheads would bite or consume whoever entered their territory. So that's the first we've kind of gotten, like they've been pretty innocuous forest dwellers up to this point, looking kind of creepy until we learn that some versions of the legend would say that they'd bite or consume anybody who entered their territory.
Yeah.
So don't fuck around on Dracula Drive, Greg. Your car breaks down on Dracula Drive. You might run into some melonheads who either bite or consume, which is a big difference.
I mean, well, yeah, I was going to say I've been bit by dogs. I don't think I've ever been consumed by any.
In Connecticut, some of the inspiration for a number of versions of the Melonheads legends may be attributed to the local surroundings and landmarks. Central Fairfield County is home to the now defunct Fairfield Hills State Mental Hospital, as well as the Garner Correctional Institution, both located in Newton, as well as the Federal Correctional Institution located in nearby Danbury. So Central Fairfield County fucks, dude. You got the Fairfield Hills State Mental Hospital, Garner Correctional Institution, and the Federal Correction Institution, all just hanging out. Just
Damn.
you got a Bermuda Triangle of just wild place for inmates.
The hat trick.
Yeah. Also, this area of Fairfield County has been historically a rural area filled with farms and forests. So if you got a rural area with farms and forests, what kind of roads pass between them? Fucking
Dirt
Dracula
roads.
Drives. That's right.
Hell
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. Well, no, you're exactly right. Roads that get called Dracula Drive in the end. The proximity of several criminal and psychiatric institutions, as well as their juxtaposition to rural areas of the county, may have contributed elements to the legend of the Melonheads. So basically, like, you've got farms, dirt roads, single lane roads, psychiatric institutions, and prisons. Like, that's what this county is full of. So you might imagine that living in the county, you see something weird and you just automatically might be like, oh, yep, weirdo from the psychiatric ward. That's what it had to be. That's for sure what it was.
Right.
Let's see.
It's almost like no imagination. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like they're like, oh, what's the most obvious thing that it could be? Like it's
Yeah.
not even like
it's a Bigfoot. Nope, it's Psycho. There's a ward right there. It's them.
Oh,
I bring you love. It's bringing us love. Get it?
Break its legs.
So stories about deformed country people who keep to themselves are a very common legend in the area. While the legend of the Melonheads is more widely told throughout southwest Connecticut, one of several other similar legends of deformed or mutated humans can be found in various locations of Fairfield and New Haven County. These legends have been told in overlapping communities where some individuals would tell versions of one legend alongside other individuals who would tell other versions of another legend. So basically, the geographic area of these stories is not a fine line, it's a Venn diagram.
Yeah.
So, there are some people that live in the same area. They're like, yep, it was psychos from a psych ward that burned down in 1960. And, Tom's down there going, it wasn't a psych ward. It was a prison. I said, shut the fuck up, Tom. You don't know shit. You didn't live here until 62 anyway.
Yeah, but my neighbor worked at the prison.
And they're all hopefully just doing it with like the hardest Yankee accents of all time. Just saying, that road there. Good story about that road there. It's called Dracula Drive. You might see a melon head on it.
Oh God,
So
could you imagine somebody telling you that? Imagine pulling up at a gas station and you're like, "Oh yeah, my friends and I were just gonna go out hiking. Heard there was some cool trails around here." And somebody goes, "Oh, be careful. You don't you don't want to get out on those dirt roads there. You
you're right. The
might
beauty
wind up
is
across the
unmatched.
Melonhead."
The beauty is unmatched. Unfortunately, so is the danger.
Melonheads
Uh,
all in these hillsides.
over time, this overlapping of oral tradition may have allowed the cross contribution of other elements to each other, which may have grown into other similar legends, including the Danbury Frog People, which is
Yeah,
commonly told in Danbury and Bethel, the
I saw the.
Faceless People of Monroe, or the House of Faceless People, commonly told in Monroe, or the Mongoloid Village, which is commonly told in the communities of central and eastern New Haven County and North Branford. Yeah. So that's basically it. I just love that they are three very separately geographically locations that tell a very similar story about some deformed people that live in. I mean, if you got forests, you might as well tell a story about them. It's just a very interesting thing that these are three places that had forests nearby that all ended up telling a very similar story that leads
Yeah,
to other things. Like it makes you want to look into the Danbury Frog People and the Faceless People of Monroe, and how about that Mongoloid village.
that's what it was.
um, there's a lot out there, man. you know you, you gotta keep looking at the skis. Oh, you're I see. I didn't look up much other than some basic what the melon heads may have looked like, but I don't know. I've been having a ton of fun, man. This will be the last time we record anything in 2023. I think there could be something this Saturday. It's unlikely. People listening don't care about that, but if there's not, it's been a fun, good comeback year, man.
Hell
I'm
yeah.
excited to get it rolling. Nothing changes for you guys. I know you just heard us say it's the last thing you record. We're so far ahead right now that we're going to bring you those three game shows in a row and come back with that cool paranormal. I mean, all things. If everything goes as planned, it could end up being hours long, and I would be so stoked if that were the case. And if not, I bet you we got at least 60 minutes of stories from people. So I'm pretty excited to get into that. I basically have an entire day set aside with 20-minute slots to record with people. So
That's what's up.
pretty stoked, man. Well, thanks for bringing the story and just pissing us off and making us all want to eat the rich a little more.
Thanks for making me forget about it until just now with the whole
Yeah,
cephalopod
but
thing.
just instead of typing in Panama Papers tonight after we get done here, just type in Melonheads and watch a
Melonheads,
movie
that's
or
the one.
something. All right. Well, anything you want to add, my brother?
Lonelyfanswith2z's.com.
Perfect. Since we won't get to say it, I guess in a live way because we've already recorded the episodes you guys are going to hear. Happy New Year, Merry Christmas, everybody. Merry
Have a
Christmas,
happy
Mahana
Hanukkah.
Kwanzaa.
A tip
Happy
top tet.
Festivus.
What was it? A Merry
uh,
Christmas, a Happy Hanukkah, a tip top tet,
a
uh,
crazy Kwanzaa.
and a solemn and dignified Ramadan.
Yes. Um, happy whatever the fuck you celebrate is what I like to say.
Yeah, Feliz
Um,
Festivus, man.
Feliz Festivus. Time for feats of strength, Greg. I'll meet you in Texas. We got to wrestle this one out.
December tradition. Just go to Texas to wrestle each other.
Greg and Jesse are Roman Greco wrestling in a
Yeah.
Dick's Sporting Goods parking lot. Yeah, they said they were going to go to Buc-ee's, but they didn't want to get too hungry before they got there.
How long did it take you? 18 hours and 30 minutes. You? 18 hours and 35 minutes. Next time, let's meet on that side of the highway.
Well, thank you guys for continuing to support us through everything and, helping the show grow organically, sharing what social media posts we do put up out with the world. Share the show with your friends. Like I said, rate and review is a great way. Find us on the social medias. Everything is at Serial Chillers Podcast besides the website. We got swooped on our website. I mean, I don't know if a lot of you guys remember that. We used to have serialchillerspodcast.com. It lapsed. It got bought out from under us, and now they want way more than we're willing to offer. So serialchillerspod.com. It's shorter anyway. Enjoy. Has literally every piece of information about us, for us, what we are about. What we even got, there's a little history section on there if you want to know kind of how the show came to be. It's not long, but it's on there. You learn a little bit about us, and if you'd like to give to the show or purchase anything through the show, you can do it there as well, or just find out where to listen to us. But you probably already know since you're doing that.
We call it Serial Chillers World Building. It establishes the lore.
It does, and now it includes Melonheads. So, live with that. Just don't go down Dracula Drive, and I think you'll be fine. I think we could put together like an entire D&D campaign based on Serial Chillers lore.
Ooh.
Like you just have you have this giant in the trees, and its name is Paul, and like it's just drunk on weird radioactive barrel vodka.
Tells you
and
two truths and a lie, and you have to decipher which one's which.
And then there's this like highly offensive, like
it doesn't do any physical damage, just plus 10 emotional damage to everything it says.
Yeah, like your charm has to be huge in order to get away from it. I mean, we'll work this out, but yeah, I think we got enough lore there, man. I think we're like, oh man, I'm dying. What do I do? He's like, oh, here's a doctor. What does he say? Do cocaine about it. There's ghosts in your blood.
See, and if we were sponsored, you could drink a liquid death water or something.
Yeah, we tried that.
That's what I'm saying. They missed out.
Yeah, you idiots. Thank you guys for again, for supporting us. Thanks, Greg, for coming out and doing this every week, every couple times a week now at this point. Yeah. But appreciate all you guys. Appreciate everything. Remember, don't talk to strangers. That's the end of my freaking report.